and welcome to Walk in the Park.
Thank you for the invitation.
It's amazing to meet you here in Oslo in Bjørvika, and we are going for a tour around Bjørvika and Sørenga.
Yes.
And in Walk in the Park, we usually invite founders to tell about their journeys, what formed them, how they ended up at what they're doing now, and many other things about their lives. I'm really looking forward to get to know you.
Me too, I'm excited.
Cool. And you've done so many cool things. You have PhD in clinical validation of AI in medicine. You also have bachelor in health economics, and you've been awarded and recognized several times, including Kapital 40 under 40 as one of the most influential young talents in business and technology. And you are a best-selling author, and you also now a co-founder of a health tech startup.
Yep. You remember quite well. Yep.
Perfect. So let's walk.
Yes, let's do that.
And the first question I usually ask is actually, are you having like walk and talks or something, habits in your life?
Actually, I do. So in our startup, a lot of times we see it a lot, okay? The programmers, they prog and there's just a lot of sitting, unfortunately. So we do have a lot of meetings that are walking meetings. And we just walk around the building. We walk, we are situated really locally, centrally, I mean. So we just try to do a lot of the meetings as walking meetings. So actually that's a tradition we already have.
Oh, that's so cool. And is it working?
I think so. It makes sure that you don't feel like you're stuck. Very often you get new ideas when you walk. And also I think the meetings are more efficient. You have to be careful, mindful of your step, but also the air kind of clears the mind, I think.
Really curious to get to know more about your story and how it all started. From what I remember, you actually wanted to be a lawyer and a writer.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
So how it started?
I ended up in a completely different direction than what I expected as a child. So I wanted to be... I watched a lot of Ally McBeal as a youngster. This was not allowed by my parents, so that's a disclaimer. They didn't allow me to watch a lot of
so we should
really adult. No. It's just okay. I wasn't always following the rules, but yes, I was watching a lot of Ally McBeal and thought, I was really inspired by a really good female character, the main character. That's why I wanted to be a lawyer, watching Ally McBeal. And then the second profession I really wanted to pursue was being an author.
Yeah.
I read a lot and I thought, that's a fantastic job, writing novels and writing make-believe stories. Why not?
So you've actually done that. You became a best-selling author.
I did.
And also became a doctor.
Yes.
So maybe you will become a lawyer later. What do you think?
No, I think I don't think that's... I think it's enough. I think, I don't know. But actually, I never say never. You never know.
Yeah. True. So tell us more about what you do now.
So after leaving the medical profession clinically, I decided I wanted to pursue AI. So I found my co-founder, Sverre Sundsdal, and we founded Livv Health. The basic idea is that you as a patient, you need to have all your medical history, all your medical data in one place, and it should be on your phone. So it's readily available for you whenever you want to have access. Mm-hmm. And also so you can share if you meet new doctors, if you're outside of the country that you reside in, for instance, Norway, let's say you're on a vacation, you should be able to have your complete medical history with you at all times so that they can fully understand who you are. And that's what we've built. So it's an app, but it's also a platform that the doctors can use to see your medical data that you want to share. So the consent is really important. So the patient is in full control of their data at all times.
But tell us back to the beginning. You started it's soon 2 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. And then it started with a Sverre contacted you on LinkedIn or Facebook
Yes.
or something. You guys didn't know each other from before.
No, we didn't.
So tell us that story, meeting of your co-founder, Sverre.
I was in a different meeting, but then I got a DM on LinkedIn from this guy, Sverre Sundsdal, and he just said, let's take a walk, have some coffee and meet. And I have some interesting ideas that I would like to discuss with you related to AI and healthcare. And I thought, why not? So we met actually that same day, 15 minutes after that DM. I was like, if you can meet me in 15 minutes, that would be perfect. He came biking down to Bjørvika actually, and then we met. And I was blown away with his vision and the thought that Okay, everything related to AI in healthcare, it starts with data sets and having access to data. And I myself, as a minority, I know firsthand, I've been misdiagnosed by an AI tool previously. So I knew that having the right data sets, that requires people having ownership to their own data. Like the reason for that misdiagnosis that I experienced previously was that I didn't have access to share my data with the startup that was developing this AI tool. So with my condition that I supposedly had, it was less than 1% that had it in the world. So how would they get a hold of that data? And this was retinal images, which is very hard. Like we don't use CDs anymore. So they told me, the doctors, that they weren't allowed to really share in a digital form. So what I did, I asked for permission and then I just screenshotted my doctor's screen and then I kept it, but it wasn't the quality required for the startup to actually go back and change the data sets. So this was my thought, like, okay, if we're going to build AI models going forward, we really need people to have access to their data. And this is how it started. So that vision of his resonated with me.
And I watched this TED Talk of yours yesterday, and I was like, I couldn't stop watching it. It was such an interesting story, but also, important.
Thank you.
So what is background? He's a technical guy, right?
Yes. So he is an engineer, and he was educated at NTNU, then had a stint at Google in the US. He's also worked at Babylon Health in the UK. So he has done a lot of these things and really knew the healthcare business well from a technical standpoint. Mm-hmm. And then you had me from a clinical environment. So our experience matched. And that's where we really found some common ground. Like we are seeing how this is not working. Like you cannot just apply AI in healthcare without having talking to people that really knows where are the pitfalls. So this is why that team really worked, the team that we have built.
Amazing. So what is important for when you're building a co-founding team? Now you have experience for soon 2 years. So what do you think? What's important? You just mentioned the skill sets and the backgrounds and everything, but what other qualities important to build a fulfilling team?
I think one thing is to have fun. If you have fun at work, that helps a lot. Like you need to have a fun environment and make sure that that you are working with good people. And even then, it can go wrong. I mean, everybody knows this, but not me, because this is my first startup. But it's really hard. It's going to take long hours. It's going to be much harder than you can imagine. So make sure that you're at least having some fun every day and that you're clear on your vision. Where's the goal that you're moving towards? Each day, you should try to do something better than the day before. So even 1% improvement is better than nothing. I think that would be the quote for this question. Yeah.
Back to your interest in artificial intelligence and how that all started for you, because you were pretty early into this whole hype before it actually became a hype, right? So how did that happen? How did you start thinking about AI and why?
So I was working as a medical doctor at Bærum Hospital, actually. So I was doing procedures, colonoscopies, where they're looking in your bowel for any precancerous lesions. And doing that, training for that in my residency, I realized, okay, so our miss rate for not finding the polyps that could eventually become cancerous, that's on 20%. That's not something you tell your patients when they're lying in front of you right before a colonoscopy. That's a high number, and unfortunately it's due to several reasons. One being that polyps are really like these growths that you're looking for. They can be really difficult to spot. So I was thinking, why not use technology? Like, I'm a former gamer. We use so many tools for improving our success rate. Why wouldn't we use that in medicine? Where are the developers? Can't they come into healthcare and help us? So that was my initial spark. Okay, I need to research this. I need to find solutions that could make me improve my success rate as a doctor. So I wanted tech to be the savior. So that's how it all started.
I remember when I found out about Nintendo and Super Mario, and I was
Yeah.
just, wow, that's a cool story.
You know,
Inspiration from gaming and this assistant in Nintendo,
Yeah,
right?
assist mode in Super Mario. That was like, okay, we need assist mode for doctors. Why aren't we why don't we have that arsenal of tools that gamers have?
Were you thinking of becoming an entrepreneur before you started a company now? Was it something of your dreams?
No. I actually, this is probably disappointing to a lot of startup people listening to this, but it wasn't like an intentional or strategic move. So I think a lot of doctors are very traditional. Oh, they're going to go to med school, then they're going to be doctors, and then residency, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't follow that traditional pathway because I kind of dared to just think, okay, what if I just do this, and then if it doesn't work, I can just come back. So I don't know. I didn't plan to become an entrepreneur, but I'm very happy that I did. But it doesn't mean I'm very untraditional in the way that I'm not thinking of my next entrepreneurial journey, right? I'm thinking here and now, this is what I want to do. Next move, we'll think about that later. But I think a lot of entrepreneurs are serial entrepreneurs. I don't know if I'll ever become that. This is what I believe in now, and I think that's the most important thing, being here and now.
It is. So what's the big vision for Livv Health?
The big vision is that we fix this. Like, I would love to work on creating AI models that help cancer patients, cure blindness, like a lot of those really cool stuff that would really make an impact on humankind. However, I think it all starts with us curating the data sets, making sure that everybody is represented, like really having access to great healthcare. It starts with making sure that everybody is empowered. So I think I kind of feel like I started with the boring stuff. This is not where you win Nobel Prizes. This is the foundation for others to build AI models. Maybe we'll get there, but this is the boring stuff, unfortunately. But I think this is the most important step.
It is. It's definitely needed. What about your book? The book called Artificial Intelligence Saves Lives, right?
Yeah,
If we translate it from Norwegian, it's in Norwegian. So how did the book was born?
Actually, it was born out of the interest to make sure that my parents understood what I was doing a PhD on. Because whenever I would tell them, they didn't really grasp the idea of AI. It was so abstract. So I thought, okay, it's not just my parents. It's going to be a lot of people. And they're smart people, but it's still something very difficult to be really like, what is it? Very concrete. What can it do? So this is why I wrote the book. And also I wanted the public to understand this. And I started on the book. I started writing on it during my PhD. So it was like, the fun writing I did next to like hardcore publishing scientific papers. So this was the fun stuff. And it gave me the freedom to actually like be creative in my spare time. So I love that. And also I'm thinking, why not just keep on writing? Like it's an outlet for me. So it's my creative outlet. But yeah, so the idea was born out of like the need for those around me and the public to really understand what is the potential of AI, because we're talking a lot about like AI taking over our work and doing stuff that we might not want it to do. Like a lot of people focus on the negatives, but I think in medicine there is such a huge potential, and I think it's undercommunicated. So that's why I wrote the book.
So what is writing for you? Is it something you mentioned creativity? What is
Actually,
that for you?
I think writing it's okay. So you're right. I write for E24, Norway's biggest financial digital newspaper, and it's that strange because I write about innovation and AI, but there's an interest for that. But the reason why I do it is because I love writing. I think writing is thinking, and so it's mostly for me, but I do know there's a dual benefit here that others can read and perhaps be inspired and learn. So it's like I said, it's my creative outlet, and it always makes me feel like I am energized after writing. Of course, there are moments when I'm like, I get stuck, but it's I don't know. Some people, they jog, other people swim. I mean, this is my outlet.
Are you writing your reflections on a day or a month or something like that as well?
I do, but now there's a limit on my time. So I prefer to like write down if I have any ideas. Like I use Remarkable. This is not product placement. I mean, this is not advertisement, but I have to say that's such a cool product. I wish like I came up with that. But Remarkable is really good because I used to have a lot of notebooks, and now I just have one. So I have my personal diary there. I have all the sketches for my next op-ed. Everything is there, and I just find it to be like, I think when you use the pen, you put things into paper, it clears your mind. And this, we could just quote Benjamin Franklin on this. A lot of smart people have said this, but really, writing is thinking and kind of, I don't know, growing your mind.
Since you mentioned your parents just now, that you wanted them to understand AI and about the book, so I remember I read in one of the articles that people thought your parents wanted you to be a doctor, but that was not true.
No.
But the only thing they told you was choose what you want, but work hard. And don't do it like halfway.
Yeah,
so
don't half-ass anything. Excel. So even if I had chosen to be like a marathon runner, be the best at it. Like they just required, which is not little, and this is not a small ask, but excellence. And I think they always push towards this, like never doing something half-assed. Then you should spend your time more wisely. And also, okay, so my parents came to Norway when they were really young. So they also grew up, like the way I was brought up is different from how my two other brothers were brought up, because they were born here. They were born here. And it's different, right? So they're immigrant parents, they change also. And my parents were very young. So they were more like tiger mom and tiger dad with me, less so with my brothers. So I don't know, it's a really nice story of how our family came to Norway and the story behind it.
Because you moved, guys, when you were 2 years old, right?
Yep.
So you then remember, I read this, so you remember the early days in the Grünerløkka, right?
Yeah.
And then it was
It was the worst place probably in Oslo. This is the area down like below, right beside Akerselva. A lot of bad guys hanging around there, put it simply. But yeah, so it wasn't like a really great place to grow up, but I didn't spend so much time there. We moved to suburbia, which was much better, but still, I mean, I remember that time, and it has impacted me a lot, like, okay, who I became, and I don't know, it also grounds me a lot. Like, I came from really simple, a really simple home, and we had everything, but looking back, it's just now that I realize, we didn't have so much, but I didn't notice.
But you probably had the support and love.
Yes,
and believe in. That's all you need, exactly. Because I just wanted to ask about how did it feel for you when they said you have to excel, you have to really work hard. And did it feel like too much and push and stress, or did it feel like inspirational and yes, I'll do that?
Probably a little bit of both, to be honest. But it was never. I didn't feel like the push was too much, but it's always nice to have something to aspire after, like to really work for, and I don't think working for something really hard is bad. It teaches you a lot. Discipline is one thing, but just the belief in yourself when you actually get to where you want to go. No, the push was definitely just do your best, and the best isn't like you really have to go for it. And yeah, you're correct. They never explicitly wanted me to become something like a profession, especially not like saying, oh, you must be a doctor, which I think is a very stereotypical way of thinking of Asians. But no, they just said, you do whatever, but make sure you do it well and excel at it.
What about enjoy it? Have you been talking about that? Or it was not something from your family, like do it well and enjoy?
No, I don't think I got that memo. But the thing is, if you excel at something, you're enjoying it.
That's true.
Yeah.
And so, you love where you are now, right?
I do, and I have their support. I had it all the time. Like they never. What I think is very nice is that their support never wavered. Like whenever I wanted to change it up and pivot my career, they were always there and supporting me. So of course, they weren't disappointed in me when I became a medical doctor, but it was never the point. The point being, just get a good education, make sure you get a job, and I think that was enough.
Awesome. Music played a big role in your life, as I understood as well.
Yeah,
You were singing, playing different instruments. So what was that for you? And are you still have that hobby or something in your life?
Not so much. So I don't do, like, okay, I was trained in classical Indian, but also in opera. And both my parents are really fond of making sure that their children are stimulated and get to do things. And in Norway, that's actually doable. I mean, this would cost a lot. And money wasn't something we had a lot of growing up. So I'm very lucky to have been growing up here where that actually is an opportunity. So it's mostly, I don't know, something I look back on. I don't practice anymore, so I'm not going to sing for you.
Oh no, we're expecting that.
Maybe some other time. But yeah, it's unfortunately something that I don't have so much time to, or I don't prioritize it. That's the basic truth of it. Yeah.
Your attitude to life. If I also translate it from Norwegian, the life is the buffet. It's about to dare to take those opportunities which are served for you. I just loved it. So tell us about that. So where is that coming from?
Directly translated. No, it's just, this is the way I was brought up, like thinking you can choose whatever. Life is a platter. Just grab whatever and go ahead. Like there's nothing stopping you. Like you should just enjoy every opportunity and I don't know. So that made me a yes person. Sometimes that can be stressful because you're saying yes to too many things. But I really believe in my core that has also led me to a lot of the opportunities. Like if I had been very strict on what I say yes to and more strict on what I say no to, I think a lot of opportunities and doors would be closed. So the willingness to dare to do something differently than what you had planned for or what others had planned for you, even that.
You can go there.
I think that's really important. So it's that quote is basically to say that I am glad that I just said yes to a lot of things.
Since we touched that upon, what do you think about luck? What is luck? Is it something just happened to you or it's similar to what we just talked about?
I think you get luckier when you really prepare and plan for something and then you work for it. So it's easy to see now and say that, oh, I was lucky that AI became this huge thing in the public in November 2022 when ChatGPT arrived, right? So a couple of years before that, I had started to think like, oh, I think AI is really, it's really going to be solving a lot of the issues that we have. Oh, we need to look into this. But at that time, nobody believed in this, right? In the medical community, they had been disappointed by previous attempts of AI to be implemented, but it didn't work out. And that is luck. Like for me, I think it was luck for me that I finished my PhD right before this wave came with ChatGPT, right? So that was out of my control. But again, the fact that I worked for it, that wasn't luck. That was hard work. Yeah. So you need to do the work in order to receive the luck. So I'm thinking everybody can have luck in their life, but I do think they need to do the groundwork.
I wanted to go back about to your journey in the beginning, early days. Like you went to, also you actually went to Harvard as well, right? And then you worked in the consultancy at Deloitte at some point for some time. So what experiences you remember from your early days of your career that shaped you and like main learnings from that period maybe?
So when it comes to Harvard, that was a long, like a dream of mine from a very young age. It was just, I had heard about this university, like my parents would even talk about it and just, I don't know, I was just inspired by what they talked about when they talked about Harvard, like, okay, really smart people, good ideas and a place where you really learn. So that was always in the back of my mind, like, okay, I want to go there. I want to learn from the best. I want to be the person learning as much as possible. So it was just, I don't know, as a child you don't think too much, but it stayed with me. And then when the opportunity to go there, it wasn't, I wouldn't say presented itself. That wasn't it. I was actively pursuing it. But it was a chance to like go abroad with a Fulbright scholarship, and I realized, why not? Like the buffet thinking, like, okay, why not just apply for that scholarship? Let's see where it gets me. And then writing a protocol so that I could go there and pursue my research there. That was just one step at a time, like building on top of the previous move. So I don't know, it was, in my childhood, it was just something I thought of, and I picked it up later on.
So what about challenges?
Yeah.
We all sometimes meet
Of course.
setbacks, challenges or something. So, but some smart people say it's important how you pick yourself up after that, and this is how you learn and stuff like that. So do you have any example of how you deal with challenges, how you pick yourself up?
So I'm really fortunate to have a really close-knitted family and close friends. So a lot of times, of course, I get the same amount of problems and challenges as everybody else. It might look differently with the things that you mentioned in the introduction about me, but it's no worries. We all get that amount of challenges in our lives. Some more, some less, but still. And yeah, so I would say that the way I cope with it is by leaning into my family. Like, they're this great support system. I have a extremely wonderful husband that I know a lot of people, oh, the woman behind the man. This is my husband behind me. Like, he is always there to support. And I think just having the backing system, somebody who understands you and will support you no matter what, I think that's it. I don't have any technical answer to this. Like, oh, when I have a challenge, I do this and this. Basically, I'm just very human. Like, I just lean into my support system. Having that, that's also luck, because I cannot control it. Other than picking the right friends and family, but which you can't. Family you can choose, but okay. In terms of like who you marry, but yeah, there is no good solution to this. But I have been very fortunate. So luck.
I wanted to ask you about your routines.
Yeah.
If you have, if you want to share some of those, you mentioned what gives you energy. For example, writing is one of them, right? So do you have other things, other routines and things you do to take care of yourself?
I do take sauna every day. It's not for like, this is, again, a disclaimer. I'm not saying that there are medical advantages to this. There might be. The research isn't clear on this. However, I do it for wellness. I do it because it makes me feel good. So sauna every day. I will start my day in a sauna. And I actually have one that is like an infrared that you sit in. And then it's like a tent that you sit in and your head is outside.
Yeah.
And this is a really good trick, because then because obviously I couldn't be sitting there for hours and hours if my head was inside a sauna. That would probably give me a migraine. But the thing is, I will sit in my tent, and then I can have like a little table outside, and then I type away. I answer my emails and then get that administrative part of the work done. So yeah, that's probably the thing I do almost every day. Something else, what else? Yeah, I try to eat dinner with my husband every day. Like, okay, that will be our way of like, okay, how's your day been? Blah, blah, blah. So it's really important to have that. Some things that you do every day that you enjoy.
Amazing. You're not jumping into this cold water.
No,
You're not,
no,
don't do it now,
I
right?
just like the warmth. I just like sitting in a sauna. I don't necessarily do the ice bathing. That's, yeah. For other people.
What about culture in a company? Now you're growing, you're building, you're fundraising now. It's an exciting future
again.
for Livv Health. Yeah, again, and it's a really big area.
It's an existential crisis every time. I mean, it's you're constantly living under the fear. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we can touch that as well. Also the challenges and learnings with fundraising and with the building company. But first about the culture. So what is important for you when you build culture together with Sverre, and what you want to the company to be, and what kind of people you want to attract?
We want to attract the best and most highly motivated, those who think they are going to change healthcare. Like, we really want people to be invested in the idea that this is something that we can improve. Like, it's going to take a lot, and many people have tried and also failed. but we really need people to be inspired by the fact that, okay, this is a very difficult ask, and it needs a lot of work to be able to solve this. But this is the right place to be, because you're amongst people that really believe in this, and you would put in the work to do it. Like, I'm not saying that you need to have a personal story to understand why healthcare is not working as ideally as we would want it to be. The core understanding of each and every person having the right to be empowered and having access to their data, that you have to accept. So the culture is built around really respect and wanting to change something and make an impact for the patients.
What about values, your personal values, which you kind of implement in the company as well? Is there anything there?
I like to think that taking the opportunity to pursue, like saying yes to things. Like, what if we did this? What if we did that? Having a really open, not a fixed mindset. I think that is really important, and something I look for in our employees. Like, the people that we're going to work with are the people that are likely going to inspire us. So you need to surround yourself with people with good energy, and that has an open mindset, a flexible mindset. That is probably the trait that I'm looking for the most. Like people that will challenge me. And Sara and I, we're different, and a lot of the people that I work with are different from me. So I'm not looking for people who are exactly like me or who reminds me of some traits that I have. I really need to have people that are open-minded and could challenge me. That is really important in a respectful way. Like you will have discussions. Then you need to have faith that people will remain positive and still has a respectful tone. So that's also important, like being able to discuss without it being like a big thing. That's also important.
So what you love the most about entrepreneurship? You personally?
I think it is the fact that I feel like, okay, I read this book, Bullshit Jobs, and I thought, yes, I think, of course, when I was younger, I was just looking for a job that, okay, pay the bills, da, da, da. And I was fortunate enough to be a doctor. So I felt like, oh, I'm making an impact. But really, now I feel like I'm choosing which impact to make. So it's much more meaningful when I define the problem and I define, okay, how do I want to pursue this challenge? So I think every job has its meaning. Actually, even though we call some jobs bullshit jobs, you're the one choosing, like, do you want to be in this job just to get a paycheck? Or do you want to pursue an actual meaningful job solving something? And that's the best part of being an entrepreneur. I'm actually defining the problems that I find fun to actually go and solve.
Will you go back to being a doctor, you think? Or will you stay in the tech business?
To be honest, I never think that I stopped being a doctor, because it was just until quite recently that I was practicing medicine, right up until December. So it's just been 2 months that I'm not practicing some part-time. So I'm probably going back for stints. Not sure if I'm going back permanently, but I am very sure that I'm going back for shorter breaks, yes.
And I have a last question for the day.
Yeah.
Is a piece of advice, if you could give to young people in the beginning of their career, maybe similar background as you have, like PhD in medicine or something, and curious about technology. So what advice would you give them?
Okay, so nowadays you're not... you don't have to get a formal education to learn new stuff. We live in a world where you can educate yourself. So if you have something that's piqued your interest, that sparks an inspiration, go ahead, YouTube it, not necessarily TikTok, I'm not saying that, but there are so many ways to learn new stuff, and there is no limitations anymore. You don't have to go to school just to learn new stuff. So I'm thinking, if something inspires you and you think this is worth pursuing, go ahead, Google it. And you'll find online research courses. I mean, just go ahead. What is stopping you?
Amazing, great advice, and great ending for the episode. Thank you so much for your time and sharing your story. Very inspiring.
Thank you so much.
Looking forward to follow Livv Health and your journey and learn from you.
Thank you so much.